Hey guys, today I'm filming another one of my Hit It or Quit It thoughts on hauls where I review all the products I featured in a haul video a year ago to let you know my current thoughts on those products. I will have my playlist in the original video linked down below and I will list all of the items. I'm sorry if there are going to be jump cuts throughout this video. I am sick and have been coughing so much and I've got some water here to try to help. We're testing a foundation that is too light for me, so apologies for my complexion. Starting with the things that I got from the Sephora Friends and Family sale, and the first product was the Huda Beauty Glowish Blur Jam Smoothing Primer. I bought this because of Babs Beauty and I really don't feel like it did anything for pore blurring and the texture was just not my favorite, so I ended up returning it. But the other one I bought off of her recommendation is something that I actually finished already this year, the Glow Recipe Strawberry BHA Pore-Smooth Blur Drops. My label here peeled off and I use this up because this has a 6-month shelf life, which is a bit bonkers to me. I don't know if that is just marketing or if it's something about the ingredients here, but I did try to use it up very quickly. I will say though, I went through this fast. A lot of product can come out at once, and at first I wasn't that blown away by this either because I'm looking for something that is pore filling. But if I look at this as just an all over smoothing primer, I think it's really nice, and it's not oil controlling necessarily, but I do think helped with my oily skin. So I actually, as I panned this, ended up really enjoying this. So this is something that I would buy again in the future. And I've also decided I don't really necessarily need pore filling. I have visible pores, but they're not that bad. So an all over smoothing primer does enough for me. The next thing that I picked up was the Saie Hydrabeam Brightening and Hydrating Under Eye Concealer in HB Half. People really raved about this and I was excited because they had just released some more shades. So there was finally one light enough for me. This is probably one of the worst concealers I've ever tried. So it's only supposed to have like light coverage, which is not my preference, but it's still fine. I knew that going into it, but the texture of this is super oily, but at the same time it dried almost immediately to where I was not able to properly blend it out. It was the weirdest thing, and I don't know who this would be good for. I want to say dry skin because it was a little bit more oily, but the fact that the product dried so quickly is crazy to me. So I know they recently-ish came out with a newer concealer and I've heard better things about that, so go with that one. I thought about wanting to try it, but I was like, oh no, it's probably still not geared for your skin type. I want to say it's still supposed to be a hydrating concealer, just has more coverage, but I was just, oh no, I also have swatched it in store and it's tacky, which I know a lot of people enjoy. For me, that's not my favorite, so I just said, Heather, don't waste your money, waste your time, don't buy that. So this concealer I definitely don't recommend. There are plenty of other ones out there that are much better. Like the concealer that I purchased next, this is also the one that I'm panning right now. This is the Kulfi Main Matte Concealer in Fudge Naach, Naach, and I am really down to here, so I should be finished with this pretty soon. I love the flat paddle applicator, and this is a good shade for me. Again, this was a shade expansion, and I do think this is very nice. This is a little bit of a thicker concealer in its consistency. There's a little bit of tackiness there. I don't mind though. I don't think that it looks heavy or cakey or feels heavy under the eyes. It's just not as thin and spreadable as some other products. But I do think that this gives a really nice light to medium coverage. So I think that this is a coverage level and a formula that would work well if you're wearing a skin tint or a foundation. So while I enjoy this, I don't think I'm going to repurchase it. Tarte Shape Tape is just still my #1 favorite. And then I have some other ones that I've really liked as well, but I'm basically wanting to repurchase Tarte and then try out some other formulas. But this is really good. I understand why so many people love it. And next we have the Lawless Perfecting Powder in Fair. And I will be honest, the reason I picked this up is because I did not get this PR package and I was just excited to try a new product. And something that I have really discovered is that powder foundations are not for me, and pressed powders are not for me either, except for my Rimmel Stay Matte because it is my mattifying touch-up powder. I am just a loose powder person. But I will tell you though, I love Lawless, but even though their prices seem pretty decent, they're not the best because a lot of their products actually tend to not come with that much, but the packaging sort of makes it look like you are getting a lot of product. And it definitely depends on the product, but I will tell you, I think that this powder costs too much for how little it appears that you're getting, and I've seen people blow through these really quickly. I do think that this gives some nice color. I feel like this is like a pressed powder, not necessarily a powder foundation. It could be, just depends on the amount of coverage that you're going for. If you are putting concealer over a lot of your face and then using this like a powder foundation, I think you'd be happy with the coverage. But this is nice. I think it doesn't make the skin look too dry. I would definitely love to see them expand the shade range. But once I use this up, I don't plan on repurchasing this, but not because of a poor formula, just because of my preference. Next is something else I wish I didn't buy. I know we are like 50% here on this haul. I got the Kosas Sun Show bronzer in Waves, which is the lightest shade. I bought this because Lauren May Beauty really loved this. She actually used one up and it looks so nice on her. And I have tried this with several brushes and I feel like I'm not really able to get it to show up. I initially bought it because as a fair skinned person, bronzer can look really crazy on me, especially up on my forehead, and I just still was not loving it. And the sale before, I had purchased the shade Beachy, which was the second lightest shade, and this is just not my favorite formula. I don't love the scent of these, which I know a lot of people have complained about with the Kosas bronzers before they were reformulated and after. And these are really nice glowy bronzers. However, I have other ones that I prefer, like the discontinued Too Faced Sweethearts bronzer in Sweet Tea. I like that one a little bit more, and I just don't think that these bronzers are special. Not bad, but not special. So I actually am wanting to sell these, so message me if you are interested. I could sell them as a bundle or individually. I feel like this is something where I tried to make myself fall in love with this and tried to make it work when really I should have returned it when I had the chance. And next I have a Patrick Ta Double Take Cream and Powder Blush Duo in She's Flushed. And this is a very pretty color. It was a newer shade at the time, but I have to be super careful with this because this is very pigmented and very rich for my skin tone, because both the cream and powder are very pigmented. So the one I bought during this sale was She's Flushed. In the middle we have She's Blushing, and on the end is Not Too Much. So you can see similar but different. I had this color first and it's a lot more nudie, whereas She's Flushed has a lot more coral in it. So you definitely don't need all three, but I'm able to justify them. I do think that this is a really nice blush formula, and it is expensive, but you are getting the 2-in-1. And I do put the cream on top of the powder like Patrick recommends, and I do tap it on with a sponge, and that's what I would recommend. I think if you go in with a brush, you're going to get too much pigment. So this is a nice product, but I don't reach for it as much as I should. Part of that I think is because I have to be so careful with it, but it's a good product. Next I have the Kulfi Zari Eyes Cream Shadow in Bronze Brocade. So many people love these. First is I wish that it came with some sort of stopper because it looks like a mess. That's how it came. I didn't get product in there with a brush or anything. That's just how it came. So it's a little bit of a mess, and I wish that there was an extra layer of protection to help it not dry out. But this is a very pretty color, but I will tell you, once I get it on the eye, it does not, for some reason, look that metallic. It looks like a nice, you know, bronzy, coppery, pigmented shadow, but not as metallic as I would like. So I feel like I should just pick a powder shadow over it because I want more of that shimmery effect. So maybe I'm just not applying it correctly. So please let me know your thoughts. I did have a little bit of creasing with this as well. Not terrible, but a little bit. I know people love these. I was tempted to get other shades, but I just was not wowed by the formula. Next, I picked up a Rare Beauty lip oil in Honesty, which is a very pretty warm brown color. I don't necessarily get the hype of these, and what's terrible is I bought one more after this during the holiday sale because it was part of a set that was a good price. And this is the same as the different K-Beauty glossy stain formulas, but with that in mind, I say just go for Roman. They're much cheaper than the Rare Beauty, and they're literally like the same. Nothing is wrong with this type of product. It's just not my favorite, which is why it's so ridiculous that I have purchased a few of them. So this does have this nice glossy layer. It looks very pretty on the lips. It is really nice and cooling, and it does leave a nice stain behind. I'm happy to see that this does leave an actual like tan stain. It doesn't turn hot pink. And I do have application wear test with this product that I will link for you, and I do compare it to some of the ones I have from Romand because I do have some similar shades. This is a very nice product. If you really love Rare Beauty, go for it. But if you're wanting to try that formula at a cheaper price, go for Romand. And then lastly, I got one of the Kosas Wet Slick lipsticks in Heatwave. What's crazy is that all the shades in this lineup, except for like one pink and one berry shade, look like this. They're all warm nudes, but like different depths. And y'all know me, I love a warm nude, so that seems right up my alley. But even I was like, okay, these are way too similar. So the Heatwave color I got is on the lighter side, and it's a really nice warm peachy nude with a little bit of pink in there. This is a very sheer lipstick. It is shiny, but it is a little bit too thin for me. It's not quite oily, but it's a little bit thinner than I like. So I'm happy with the shade that I have, and I think this formula works fine with this type of color and on my skin tone, but I'm not gonna buy any more of these. I'm really very picky about bullet lipsticks to begin with, but this type of formula is just too thin. So those are my thoughts on all the things I got from the Sephora sale. So we're like at 50% here on things that I like and things that I didn't, which I'd be okay with if I ended up returning more of the things I wasn't wowed by. So then for my random August purchases, RMS had a referral code thing where you get $30 off a $60 purchase, but there was a glitch and it was actually taking off $30 off a $30 purchase, and there was free shipping. So I got 4 of their blushes that are normally $35, so it made them $5 each, which was so amazing. So first I got the last shade I needed from the original launch. This is Hanky Panky, and this does have like a blue shift to it. I will tell you that I'm so glad I got this for only $5 because this shade I don't think is the most flattering on me, which is a bummer. It's a really interesting, unique color, but if you had a deeper skin tone, of course, this would be much more flattering. So I could have done without this one, but this is a product for some reason that my completion collector's mentality is applying to. And then I got the 3 new blush shades, and I wanted to show you other colors I have to compare them. So this is one of the new shades, Crystal Slipper. This reminds me actually a lot of the original MAC Warm Soul, and I wanted to compare it to the original shade Maiden's Blush. You can see this is a little rosier and darker, so I would definitely say that these are different enough, but this is a color that is not going to show up on all skin tones. But if you're wanting a nude blush and you feel this is too light, Maiden's Blush will be the one for you. But I really, really love this if I'm wanting a nice light warm cheek. Next we have Bohemian Girl, which is a really pretty warm pink with golden shimmer. It is not even as similar as NARS Orgasm. I think that this has a little bit more peach in it, but I wanted to compare it to French Rosé, which you can see are super, super different, but this is the closest color in the collection. And this almost is more of like a duochrome shift than it is just like a bunch of shimmer. I don't think that this necessarily looks too shimmery on the cheeks. And the other new shade is Royale, which is a very interesting, like mauvey, rosy pink. I really don't know how to describe this one. And initially when I bought this, I was worried it would be too similar to Pomegranate Fizz, but as you can tell, they're super different. So I am not normally a baked gelée type of person. I have a hard time getting those to pick up on a brush, so I don't like them really for bronzers and highlights. But for blushes, it's fine because I just use a dense blush brush and it applies perfectly. What I'm wearing today is actually the newest shade that I just got recently, Bermuda Rose. And I think that this is a really wonderful formula, but you do need a dense blush brush. Also, during this glitch, I was able to pick up their new highlighter, which is Prosecco Fizz. They only have the one shade, and this was $42, so I only spent 12 bucks on it, which again, I'm so thankful because I have tried so many brushes trying to get this to work, and I just am not impressed by this. I just think it looks very blah on the skin, so I'm gonna keep playing with it though, because I've tried to declutter this and I'm not able to let it go yet, so I will keep playing with it. And I'm really wanting to try the new bronzers, but I'm wondering if I'm gonna like those if I have not loved the highlight that much. But I would apply them differently with different brushes and stuff like that. So let me know your thoughts if you've tried the bronzer and what shade you have. I also can't quite decide which color I would like better. And I had some Ulta coupons. So with my birthday $10 off, I had gotten the Natasha Denona Mini Starlit palette, and all of these I think are shades from other palettes, and Natasha has done that again with her newer mini, and she needs to cut it out. That is so annoying. When you are a brand that's that expensive, the people love you so much, come up with new colors, okay? That is so annoying. But with that being said, I was really excited for these two shades, Nude Mauve and Galaxia. Galaxia is in the mini retro palette maybe, and that was like the only color that I liked from that palette, so I was excited to have that. And the thing for me is like, okay, these three are mauves and these are more warm tones. I don't like them together. I don't think they go together. I feel like these should have been in two different palettes. So the quality of this one is great. These are just regular matte shades, not any of the creamy matte, luckily, because I hate that formula. But I really did not need this. So I am trying to make myself be better about Natasha Denona palettes, because so far I have passed on 2 minis and then like that golden one, because I have the original gold palette, so I don't need that one. But I'm trying to really be more critical about Natasha Denona palettes this year and get indies instead for the same price. So I'd also gotten Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I had a gift card, and I believe there was like a $15 coupon or something like that. So I have done several makeup of the day posts on Instagram with this palette, and you have lots of different formulas in here. I think maybe no creamy mattes. I could be wrong, but you know, these two shades here are very similar. I hate that this is the only dark shade. I feel like one of these three could have been replaced with a shade that was in between this and this. I of course love the two more peachy mattes. I think those are really nice. These three shades here are more of like a glittery topper sort of thing. It's fine, but it's not my favorite. I much prefer just her regular metallic formula. I think is so good. And this is like an ultra wet metallic in Muse. That's my favorite shade in the palette. If I had to make my own 5-pan palette from here, I would pick Muse, Wit, Vague, maybe Whisper and Ella, or Travertine and Ella, something like that. But I'm happy that I have this one, but overall I just was not as impressed. I think there should have been a little bit more variation in the mattes. And I had gotten a couple glosses. So Buxom had a limited edition collection, which you guys know are my favorite, and I got one of the lip creams in Pumpkin Pie Latte. And I will tell you though, this is really not the most flattering shade on me. If you're interested, I have seen this one at TJ Maxx recently, and it's also on the Flip app, which I have been loving. I have already placed so many orders. You can get products so discounted there. If you want to hear more about it, let me know. Also, if you sign up through a referral code from me, you can get at least $25. My friend Jean signed up and she just got 40 bucks. So let me know if you want to hear more about it. But here is the color. I can't tell if this is more cool tone or warm tone, but it is a pretty shade, but again, not my like number one Buxom shade, but I love this formula and I definitely want to get more use out of this color. I am happy to have it. And then we have one of the Live Tinted Hue Glosses, and this is a newer shade, Grace. This is such a pretty rosy pink, and this is a little bit of a thicker formula. And I would say that these two glosses, look, they have about the same opacity here, which is a light medium, which I really like. This is such a gorgeous color and I really do enjoy this gloss formula. I have two shades from here. So both of these have a bit of thickness to them. The Buxom is a little bit sticky, which Buxom glosses are the only sticky ones that I will put up with because it's just slightly sticky, not super sticky. So lastly were just some things I received in PR. Smashbox sent their Healthy Halo Glow Tinted Moisturizer and Concealer Pen. I will have my first impression demos for all these products down below. But this was fine, but not necessarily geared towards me. Tinted moisturizers are not my favorite because I have oily skin. I prefer a little bit more coverage, which is why at first it took me a while to come around to skin tints. But I do feel like a lot of them perform a little bit differently because they have a little bit more pigment, a little bit less hydration. And these, again, were just not my preference, so I passed them on. Then I had one of the Merit Solo Shadows in Mid-Century, and Merit was kind of to send this to me before the products had launched, so I didn't quite realize how dark this color was going to be on me. And I feel like I am just not skilled enough to blend out a matte cream shadow all over my eye. And the brush that came with it was a really nice brush, a really nice like stiff blending brush, and then a little tiny pointed pencil brush. I wish it was a smudger brush and not a pencil brush, but the quality of the brush is really nice. And I have since been sent another shade, and I think that it is pretty, but matte cream shadows are just not my thing. I would love to see if they came out with just a shimmer formula. I think that I would probably enjoy that as a base. But for me, I never use matte cream shadows as a base, and I don't like them on their own. So it's just not the type of product for me. And like I said, I didn't have the easiest time blending out this formula, but it could have been because I picked a shade that was so dark on me. Next, I had reached out to Laura Geller about their serum blush cheek tints. I had gotten one from them in the past and absolutely loved it, and then the product was gone for 6 months, 9 months, and then they came back, and I just reached out to them to see if they would be able to send me the other shade, and they did, which was so nice, and some extra goodies. And since then they have released, I think, 5 more shades of the blush and a serum bronzer, so I really want to try those as well. Laura Geller has incredible sales all the time, so I will keep an eye out, but I love these serum blushes. So the first color we have is Poppy Peach. This is a really pretty peach with a little bit of pink in it. And the other color is Practical Pink, which is a bit more of a light mauve-y pink color, which is just stunning. And this is actually a really easy formula to work with. I would just pop it on the cheeks and blend it out with a sponge, and it looked awesome. It never lifted up my foundation. So this is just an interesting formula because it is a sheer wash of color, but at the same time, it's more of like translucent amount of pigment, but you can build up the color. It's just not going to look thicker like a cream blush. I can't quite explain it, but it really does. I mean, I feel like if you can see it on my hand, you can see the pigment here, but it is just like a translucency at the same time. I would love to know if you've got better words to describe this, but they're very beautiful. I definitely am interested in getting more shades, and these are also on the Flip app. They sent their bronze in Brighten in the medium shade, which was very beautiful, but a little bit too dark for me, so I did pass that on. And then for their spackle primer, they sent the like original rose gold and the hydrating one. I passed them on as well. I do think those are very nice primers, but they're huge, and I have so many primers that are going to take me a long time to get through, but I would definitely be interested in trying these again, or seeing if they still make a mattifying one. I remember back in the day they had a matte primer that was really nice. And then Tower 28 sent their Swipe Up Serum Concealer, which was exciting because I was going to buy this in the Sephora sale, and they sent me 2 shades. This is the second color, BU, and the third shade, CC, which I'm using right now mixing with my color corrector. And I would love to see them expand this shade range because BU is a pretty good skin tone match for me, but not quite light enough to brighten. However, the lightest shade is very light, so I would probably have to mix them. But this is a really great serum concealer. It just has such a nice lightweight texture, and this does give more of a medium coverage, which again I think means that this will work well with skin tints or foundations. Out of all of the concealers that I've reviewed today, I like this one the best. I think that the Kulfi is similar in the amount of coverage, but this is a thinner, more serumy consistency, where that is like a little thicker and tackier. Not bad, but if I had to choose, I would pick this formula. And again, I would just love to see them expand their shade range. But this is a fantastic product, and I've really been loving the one that I've been mixing with my corrector. It just mixes so nicely. And I also feel like it's just a natural finish. It's not dewy, it's not matte, which is just perfect. And then Kosas sent their Juicy Glass lip oils. They come in 4 shades, but they're all essentially clear. They just have different scents. I think these are very cutesy, but I I do not like clear lip oils. I really want like a tinted one. So if they came out with tinted versions of these, I think that would be so exciting. The packaging was just super precious, and these do have like a large doe foot applicator. These are a lip oil that is a little bit thicker, so it's going to actually stay on the lips, which I think is nice. It did give a lot of juicy shine. I just prefer pigment. And then a couple of skincare PR packages that I got. First would be from Lawless. They had sent the Forget the Filler Skin Plumping Line Smoothing Perfecting Cream. They sent a full size of their moisturizer, and then they also sent one of the Lawless Forget the Filler Overnight Lip Plumping Masks. So the full size moisturizer I actually gave to my friend Jean. She is just obsessed with Lawless. And then a couple months ago, they sent a mini of it. So I decided to keep the mini for me and give her the full size. The packaging of this is just gorgeous. And this is a thicker cream, as you can see here. It is very nice and hydrating. I think that this would be great for people that have dry skin. You could use this, I would say, in the morning and under makeup. But for me, as someone with oily skin, I like this better as a nighttime moisturizer. So I think that this is good, but however, it does not replace my Belief moisturizing balm for nighttime. That one is just my all-time favorite, but I do think that's a good product. And then for this lip mask, I think it's very nice and hydrating. It does have that cooling, plumping sensation, which is really nice. So definitely recommend this. I think it's just such cute packaging and a very nice hydrating, cooling, plumping lip mask. And then lastly from Maylis, I had gotten 2 of their new body serums. The resurfacing one, which was purple packaging, I already used that one up earlier this year. And this is the Relure Tighten Tone body serum. I think this is really nice. I do like a serum consistency. I'm not an oil person, but a serum I think is very nice. And I do have KP, I do have stretch marks. So I really love the 2 formulas that I chose. I do feel like they performed very similarly on my body. I did not notice different results from the 2 different formulas, but I do think that this is a fantastic product to layer under body lotion. So it is something that I would recommend. However, I think that the Topicals Slather body serum product is my all-time favorite. I do think that does a nice job of really helping to smooth out the texture on my body from my stretch marks from my KP. I think that one is incredible. So that would be my number 1, and then this formula would be my number 2. But I would love to hear your recommendations for different like KP products, or if you have any like chemically exfoliating, smoothing body serums or lotions. So I know this was a little bit all over the place, but hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing my thoughts on the things that I brought into my life last August. I would love to hear your thoughts if you've tried any of these products. And let me know if you guys shop the Sephora Friends and Family sale for this year. I placed a really good order that I'm very excited about. It literally shipped same day, which was so nice. So I should be receiving that in a couple of days, and I can't wait to see my thoughts. I hope that I like those products a little bit more than I liked some of these, but if not, I will return them. I'm gonna try them right away so I can return them, because 30 days goes by like this, baby, especially when like the Sephora is not around the corner for me. I gotta go out of my way. So it just, anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.